So, yes, and we were discussing this, Adhyatma, Adhibhuta, and Adhidaiva.
Right. You said in the first four, you said we could go deeper into that.
Correct.
There you go.
Correct, because it is the foundation of all Indian philosophy here, in few lines. So what is that Brahman? What is that Adhyatma? You see, he separates Adhyatma and Brahma in some very interesting way. And when Krishna will be answering, he will say that Brahma, the spirit, is Aksharam, is something imperishable. Paramam, that means supreme, transcendental. So bhavach adhyatma muchyate. So for Krishna, adhyatma, that which is pertaining or concerning the self, belongs to svabhava, belongs to one's own nature. And this is a quite interesting definition for those who know the definition of Atman and Brahman. Brahman is the spirit and Atman is the self. The self of that very spirit. It is self-conscious or self-conscious perception of, if the spirit would perceive oneself or relate to oneself, that would be Atman. So Atman is self-conscious spirit. So if spirit is being, then Atman is existent one. If spirit is existence, that Atman is existent one. If spirit is consciousness, then Atman is conscious one. If spirit is bliss, then Atman is blissful. So Atman is the one who uses that quality within, the self-perception of the spirit, in whatever focal point. It can be in any place. It can be presented, it can be, found in any position in this universe. So everything here in this universe is Atman because it has that particular poise of perception or that particular self-poise of being or that self-poise of bliss. But it all belongs to Brahman, to the spirit. So existence is Brahman, but the existent one is Atman. And there are so many existent ones in this universe. All of them represent the spirit in the particular self-poise of being.
Is that sort of like the philosophy of Vaisheshika?
Oh, they're all using the same approach.
Okay.
Vaisheshika is one of those, yes, which is more concentrated on the uniqueness of everything. So that unique element is Atman, the self, or the body. Atman is the body also. That means this physical body is Atman. As this physical body of this computer is Atman, or the physical body of this finger is Atman, or of this screen is Atman, or of this, every element is a specific self-poise of being. Yeah? So it's from where we look at existence, or what is our focal point from which we are looking at existence. That is Atman. It's difficult to explain, but some kind of self-consciousness of spirit creates this phenomenon which we call self. And in English, self is a very good word. It means exactly that very thing, which is very difficult to catch otherwise. Self, oneself, yourself, himself, and so on and so forth, themselves. So it's very difficult to explain what is self. What is self? At the beginning was the self. What is it?
Mm-hmm.
It has no name.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the name self, no?
Mm-hmm.
It's a
Right.
being. It's a being. Being which has a particular individual or personal or quality. So Brahman, with that quality, becomes many. So that's why it is said that Adhyatma, concerning the self, it is the svabhava, or self-nature. So self-nature of the spirit becomes Atman. Wait 1 second. I have to take this 1 second. All right.
Yeah, as you were explaining, I keep getting the thought that, this world or this manifestation as we see it is really just the mind of God. We're living in this mind of God. It's if we're just allowing everything to express itself and flow. We're just basically watching spirit or God perform.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And nothing here is not him. It is all him, his own self-poise of existence, consciousness, bliss, in whatever degree, in whatever quality, infinite qualities of this bliss, of consciousness and being. But the being is always self. And as Sri Aurobindo says, this self is present everywhere. Because in the smallest degree, if you come to the atom or to the electron and so on, you will have that self-poise of the being from which it can look at the world and know it. We can start from any point in time or space in this universe as the self, because it is an existent one. There is existence behind, which is holding every existent one within its existence. And everything can be an existent one in this existence. The same, everything can be conscious one in this consciousness. Everything can be blissful one in this bliss. Everything, every drop of it in time and space. In time and space means it is already separated, split. It is already, how to say, spelled out in terms of time, in terms of space. That very thing, which is conscious and which is blissful. So that is svabhava, one's own nature. And all this spelling out in time and space has different nature, different qualities, different relations to other self-poised existences, universes within universes. And they can go on and on, because there is no end to this spelling out the qualities.
I just had that realization that as it continues to expand, that there's no end. and the opposite of that is getting smaller and smaller. And the smallness is also just the infinity of getting smaller.
Yeah, there is no end in that direction either.
I just kind of like thought of that recently, and it was like, well, you just pick up wherever you just pick up wherever you pick up. You know, it's just constantly going. No sense thinking about it because there's no end.
Exactly. You see, this is mathematical problem. You remember the problem of fractals? When they were looking at the line, which is, for example, line covering the map of some Florida, for example. And then when you can draw it, but when you come closer and closer, there will be always some more of that line, because closer you come, there will be more varieties of that line. It won't be straight as it looks from the farther. So closer you come, you will have more and more fractals, more and more varieties, and it is infinite. We will never have the line which is final. That line will have also some zigzags within, and those zigzags will have zigzags within. So it's infinitely, you cannot really calculate the length of the line of the coast of Florida because of those fractals within. It's a mathematical problem.
Yeah, right.
So it's actually what we want to say, the same thing, that everything is here, the self, because it is based on this existence of Brahman. And whatever is here is his self-representation, either big or small, or infinitely small or infinitely big. It doesn't matter, because infinitely is an open end.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly puts another perspective on this teaching.
Right. And if you look at, you feel the presence of the spirit suddenly. It's all over, everywhere. In the middle, we think that we are in the middle, but this is an illusion of size, you know. We are not in the middle. We are maybe very small or very big in comparison to those smaller or bigger ones. You know?
Right.
All only in comparison of the mind. But that is only the work of the mind, nothing else.
Yeah.
Do you remember we looked into this number, 0.9 into the eternity, and I was saying to you that this is the one. Number one is 0.9 into eternity, and because this is what it is. You remember we discussed this?
Right.
Or we didn't? Did we discuss this?
No. We wound up getting into a little bit of Marco Rodin. I don't know if I sent that. I sent that to you, Marco.
Yes, we discussed, yes. This number is equals to number one. This is the one. So that means this 9 is running to eternity, and at the end, you will have this 9 at the end, which is not possible because there is no end.
Mm-hmm.
And why it is so, it's very easy to figure out, because if you divide 1 on 9, you will get 0.1 into eternity. Then if you divide, and if you plus this 9 times, so plus, Lin is coming, plus 9, and so on 9 times, then you will get 9 nines,
Right.
And 9 nines is clearly 1,
Right.
Now, if you plus 1 into eternity 9 times, what will you get? You will get 9 into eternity, no? 9 times you plus 1 plus into eternity plus, wait a minute, plus 0, 1 into eternity 9 times, then you will get 0, 9 into eternity. So this is 1, exactly. The 1 is the biggest number, it seems. And I want to tell something now about it. And this is interesting. If 1, and that is the self, I want to say that the 1 is the self. If 1 is the biggest number, because 9 into eternity, 0.9 into eternity is the biggest number. You cannot get bigger than this. Yeah, it covers all 9 running. It's the top number. You cannot make bigger than this. So then it means that you can draw from this depth of infinity beyond comma, yeah, which goes beyond comma, into the small numbers, into the infinite smallness, which is never ending. You can draw all the numbers before 9, and it will never diminish.
Right.
So you can put any number here in front of comma and go on putting, but this one will never diminish.
Interesting.
Why? Because it cannot be diminished by definition.
Right.
It's infinite.
Right.
So you can draw any number before comma from that depth. Yeah? And it will not diminish. It will not become smaller. So what that proves, what is this Brahman, or Atman, sorry. Atman as self can be drawn from Brahman, from this infinity, can be drawn any number, any self can be created. Infinite numbers of selves. And it will never diminish or exhaust the existence.
Right.
It's even mathematically visible.
Then it never becomes the Brahma, because that is the existence that it was given in the present.
It
Wow.
cannot become Brahman because it is Brahman.
Right.
It will never become Brahman because it is already Brahman.
Right.
By the
Right.
very beginning. And
Right.
yeah.
There's nothing to figure out. That's terrific. Proven mathematically. It's
right. It's a weird thing about
Yeah.
these numbers. I was struggling with this quite some time. I wanted to know the meaning of 1, and then I discovered it. It's 0, 9 into eternity. And that explains what Atman is.
Mm-hmm.
Atman is this infinite number. We can draw any number in front. We can create any big or small number, Atman self, and it will never diminish the existence. Right. Okay, so this is Adhyatma. Adhyatma is that Svabhava, as Sri Krishna says, or self-existence, self-being, self-nature. We all have certain self-nature by birth. We all are born under certain nakshatras and represent certain nature. I am born under this nakshatra, so I will be of this character. I am born under this sign, under this planet. I have this ascendant, and so on and so forth. And they are all determining my svabhava. Why? Because from this infinity, I drew a specific position as the self, as the Atman. And that Atman is specific, unique, and alone, and no comparison to any other Atman in that unique way as Svabhava represents, but it is at the same time the self-existent representative of Brahman as existence of all. So we are common in existence and unique in positioning of that existence. Infinite uniqueness, never repeating itself. There are no two similar things in the world. I mean, the same things in the world. Similar, there are many, but the same things you will not find. Why? Because of this. Because of Atman. Atman creates unique poise, unique focus, unique access to existence, which cannot be repeated by any other Atman in the world.
Right, just like that mathematical you just said, each Atman is an infinite manifestation of itself.
Right. If you look at this formula, you will see that each 9 or any number for that matter is a unique number in its order. You cannot say that they repeat themselves. So they are in a unique position, in unique relations. Each one is unique.
Right.
This is really an amazing world, we are living in.
Right.
So these two, Brahman and Atman, are the foundation of Indian philosophy. Brahman is the spirit, and Atman is the self of that spirit. The unique poise in time and space or beyond time and space does not matter, but that uniqueness of poise of that existence creates a view, a specific consciousness, from which we can view the infinity in a unique way. That is because of Atman, self, which is behind it. Shri Aurobindo, yeah?
Simply brilliant, right? Simply brilliant. Simply and brilliant.
Yeah, well, what can we say more about it? Our mind cannot get more out of it. It's also, one can speak about in numbers also about it, but more difficult. But Sri Aurobindo always speaks about these two. If you go into Life Divine or Synthesis of Yoga, you will be surprised how many times he mentions the spirit and the self and spirit. Why does he mention both, self and spirit? Self and spirit, self, spirit and self. Why? Why not one, spirit or self? Why he should say the self and the spirit? Because of this unique way of looking at things. The spirit is that which holds everything, and the self is that unique poise of looking at the spirit, whatever it is. So always,
right, it can't be spoken of without the two.
yes, we cannot speak about them separately.
Right.
And that's why Upanishads will say the Atman is Brahman and the Brahman is Atman. But why do they have to say it? If there is Brahman and Atman are identical, why to mention both? Because of this specificity of manifestation, of self-poise, of knowing infinity from every possible poise of existence.
Well, I didn't understand it as more deeply until today. I mean, you're right. I mean, you hear it over and over, in the readings, but now when you went deeper into explaining that, I have a more separate, clearer understanding of why we have to say both. This is very, well, there you go. You just kind of like went into going deeper without saying we're going deeper into it. It just explained it. Beautiful.
No, this is a profound thing. It looks very simple, Atman and Brahman, self and spirit, but why they are there? And because they are both present constantly there within him. His infinity is based on this capacity to view himself from any poise of infinity, and that is the self.
Probably another reason why the learning is infinite and constantly learning, because it never ends. Just as I get this moment, the thought came and go, oh, okay, what's next to learn? It's just, now it's just yeah, I can't even speak.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and then he asks, what is karma, O Purushottama, in this view? And karma, as he would answer, it is that which is creating, as Sri Aurobindo would translate it very differently. It is that karma is the name given to the creative movement, visarga, which brings into existence all beings and their subjective and objective states. That's how he translates bhuta bhava, udbhava kara. So the one who creates udbhava kara, who makes the appearance of the subjective and objective states, of bhuta, objective, and bhava, subjective state. It is only Sri Aurobindo who translates this in this way. Usually, traditionally, it would be translated that it is the creation of the past, present, and future of 3 times. Sri Aurobindo translates it differently. It is that which brings into existence all beings and their subjective and objective states. Actually, both translations are possible if you look at the Sanskrit text. And it is really a unique kind of way of looking at it. Usually, traditionally, it's easier to translate 3 times. That which manifests or brings into the manifestation the being in 3 times, in time. It would be quite good translation. I don't think we need better than that. But he says something even more. He says about subjective and objective states of the being. So what is karma? Karma is that which manifests that Brahman and Atman, self and spirit, in terms of events, subjective and objective events in time and space. Adhibhutam kim proktam. And then what is adhibhutam? He asks. And adhibhuta is this kshara bhava, says Krishna. Adhibhuta, that concerning the becomings which are brought by karma from the subjective states of self-knowing spirit, brought into manifestation of time and space in subjective and objective states of the beings by karma. Adhibhuta creates this kshara bhava, or perishable nature. So within time and space, all this becomes perishable. It cannot sustain itself. It has to give its place, because time moves everything and changes everything. Energy sustains, but the forms change within the energy. And that is called the perishable nature. Nature of time and space, where forms are constantly changing, transforming, consuming one another. Constantly consuming, releasing energy, releasing more and more consciousness, more sophisticated forms for more sophisticated consciousness. And then Purusha, what is this Adhidaivatam? Purushascha Adhidaivatam. And Purusha, the consciousness for the embodiment, is concerning the faculties or Adhidaivata. Now, the faculties of consciousness is something unique. Within the Atman, there are no faculties of consciousness. Atman is the self. The consciousness of the Atman does not have faculties. It has a view of the being. It's a poise. It's a particular look. It's a particular self-knowing of that within oneself. But the moment Purusha is born, or the Purusha is created, or Purusha is projected, manifested, it brings into play the faculties of consciousness. That means seeing, hearing, speaking, thinking. Seeing creates the light, hearing creates the space, physical space, physical light. The need to see objectively creates light. The need to comprehend objectively creates space. So this is Purusha. Purusha is the cause of this universe in terms of varieties of relations, comprehensive relations through consciousness. Sri Aurobindo is beautifully somewhere explaining this.
Yeah. Question.
Yes.
To me, I see a reminder here that our awareness of these matters is ultimately conditioned by what we are capable of within this Purusha.
Correct. Absolutely.
Well, we think we see stars, but that is only because that is what exists in this way of being. But is that really the reality?
Well, that's what he wanted to see. He wanted to see the reality and not unreality, since Purusha is the consciousness of the Atman. Now, I didn't explain yet the relation of Purusha and Atman. So if Atman is the self-poise of the existence, or the being behind it, the existence in general, divine existence or divine being, then Purusha is that consciousness of that Atman. Purusha is the consciousness of Atman, which was created by Atman, projected by Atman into this manifestation. And basically it created that what we call karma. Karma as the sacrifice, that projection itself, as an outflowing into time and space, or kind of projecting oneself or emanating out of oneself into some otherness of self, and that creates the Purusha. Purusha is the habitat, or inhabitant of that habitat within that projection. It is the consciousness which is perceiving that projection.
So the manifestation is cascading down.
Right. Yeah, correct. Down in this view of us being down, yes. So to say, we are kind of starting from bottom up, so we are moving up. But yeah, there is no down or up in this case. It is kind of going in or going out, if you will. Also no in and out. It's some kind of...
Right, our vocabulary is limited. We can't explain it.
Right.
It's just happening, but I understand how it's happening somehow, but I can't explain it, right.
Right, yeah. But later, Sri Krishna will confuse us even more in ninth chapter, actually, where he will say that this world he is not in this world, but this world is within him. Not even within him, but within his self. And this is something will be difficult to comprehend, that this world is him within, as it were. It's
Good.
not outside of him. It's like we are. If the infinity to become small is there, so why not? Why not to be within him?
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah.
Our mind, of course, is not working with infinity easily. Anyhow, Purusha is the consciousness of Atman. Atman is the self, and Purusha is its consciousness, which is made for the sake of manifesting Atman's projection. So the speech or mind or breath, sight, hearing, it is all his faculties, known to us as speech and so on. But of course, speech, behind speech, what we mean is self-expression of the self. And what we mean by sight, it is the apprehensive cognition of the self. What we mean by hearing is comprehensive cognition by the self, and so on and so forth. So we call them seeing, hearing, speaking, because we are used to this human language. But behind these faculties, there are fundamental faculties of consciousness, of Purusha. All right. And one more, Adhyajnyoham evatra. And I am here, Adhyajna, in this body, in the of these who carry the body. I am the one who is of the sacrifice, the Lord of the sacrifice, the one who decided to do this projection, the one who decided to embody himself, who wanted to become many, who moved all this in this direction, who created a Big Bang, who partakes of all the enjoyment in this world, who partakes of all the suffering in this world. I am the Lord of the sacrifice. In the heart of man, in the heart of Yajamana, in the heart of the one who does the sacrifice, there is the Lord seated within, making this sacrifice possible from every possible poise of this infinite self. From every possible self, he makes the sacrifice, the call from the Yajamana point of view. We all obey his command and will always obey because we are him.
So the journey to understand self then becomes understanding the Atman.
Right, the existent voice, yes.
Wow. What a lesson today, Vladimir. This is wonderful. You have to send this. You have to send it to me, please. I got to listen to this quite a bit.
There is quite a lot here. There's more to it even than we spoke. Of course, we cannot speak everything. It's but to read what Sri Aurobindo says also would be very wonderful. Now it could be maybe easier to read to what he would explain. This is Indian philosophy. It's really profound. It gives us all possible views on ourselves. And in this case, Shri Krishna or Adhyajna is something even transcendental to his own spirit and existence and self. His self is not even him, it is his poise of the being. But he has also non-being, non-existence. Yeah? And he is neither non-existence nor existence. These are only his ways of manifesting himself.
Right. It's just the action.
So Adhyajna is something supreme, something going beyond even transcendental existence. Yeah. And he is within the body. It is him who decided to become this self, who decided to become this individual self. The psychic being is him here. And that's why it is so important, this individual development, because he wants to be many. The Supreme wants to be many. Not Brahman, not Atman, the Supreme. Atman and Brahman are his means to become many. His infinite existence beyond time and space. But he is not confined to his existence. He is not confined to his non-existence either. He is free from both. Our mind cannot say what it is because we speak in terms of existence only. We can say only is, he is. We cannot say some other word which would not be is or is not. Now, this is the highest what we can do. But there must be some other word which is neither is or is not. If we could find that word, we should use it. Yeah. All right. Okay, we can stop here for today. Unfortunately, we didn't go anywhere. We just started.
Oh, we went pretty far, Vladimir. We did, for sure. You set it up well. Please send this to me again, would you?
Yes, I will. I will send, definitely.
Yes, please, me too.
Yeah, wonderful. Okay, let us stop here and then we'll meet next week. Next week, earlier 1 hour, yes? I already shared.
Okay.
Well, here in the United States, that has already happened.
Can we meet later 1 hour so that we keep the same hour as we...
Yes. Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah?
Okay, yes.
Because Julieta cannot come. She is showing with her hand that she cannot come. So better we keep the same time then, because Europe didn't change the summer time.
Okay.
Okay. That'll be 7.
Sorry, if you want to change.
No, we don't want to. We want you to be with us. It's wonderful.
Maybe later is possible for me. Later, but not before.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
So now I'm confused. So what is our meeting time next week?
We are leaving the same time without changes. You changed your time. That means for you it will be later 1 hour or something.
Okay.
And then we will also change our time in Europe, and we will become again normal. It will be in 1 week or 2 weeks. We'll catch up with you.
Yes, and I apologize. I logged on at the correct time, but the the link came through very late.
Yeah. We were confused with time.
Yeah, right. We all came on at different times.
All right, great. So I close with mantra. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha Sarve Stantu Niramayaha Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Pradiyam.
Thank you, Vladimir. Bye,
Namaste.
everyone.
Bye.